All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the surface of Minmus. Fishhooks here, and we are about to do some sciencey things. When we landed, we went ahead and knocked a bunch of it out. We've got a lot of science on board right now, but there was a mistake made, and again, it's a design flaw. If you recall, in the last episode, I did not make any updates to the lander itself, and I wish I had. Number one, I should have put a surface scanner on it. I think that complements the scanner that I have on the tugboat in orbit. And then, so I didn't do that. And then I also discovered that my awesome lander breaks antennae. All right, so when I designed the first lander, I had put the antenna up at the top near the docking port, right? It was, let me switch focus here. It was up here somewhere, but that was when I had the single docking port design. But anyway, when I did my first docking with it, I broke the antenna off, which sucked, right? And so I moved it down to the bottom on the second landing can. And as you can see here, when I landed, it broke it off. And so I am going to need to relocate it again, either onto one of these pods or up here on the new triple docking connector, or maybe just off the side of one of the utility bays. So what we have here is, okay, when a man loves a moon, go ahead and hop up there, Chief. There we go. So what we've got here is one Kerbal who is, I think he's the pilot, and then we've got another one who is a scientist. And so what I've done so far, you can see here that I landed right in a sort of coastal region on this frozen body of water. This ice bed. Let's turn the music down a little bit. There we go. So I've landed on this ice lake, ice ocean, ice frozen liquid situation, and done a bunch of science here. And then I've gotten an EVA report from up here as well. I think what I'm going to do is get this person to come back. That's considered lowlands. And I'm gonna get this person to come back into the ship. And then I'm going to fly the ship up to this area here, which I believe will be considered highlands. And then do a whole bunch of science again. So this should prove to be a very profitable science trip. So let's go ahead and get this Kerbal in first. Man, look at that jump, huh? Superman. Look at that, jumps the entire height of the lander. It's crazy. Oop. There we go. Nearly no gravity whatsoever on Minmus. I mean, it's just virtually nothing. All right. Let's get you back in the lander. I'm learning bit by bit. I'm not great at it, but I'm learning bit by bit how to maximize my science in each trip, using the scientists to collect and reset containers and then rescan the containers under different circumstances. It's something the game doesn't teach you. You just have to sort of figure out. I guess if I spent some time looking in this wiki, I would understand it better. But who has time? Who has time to read? Well, I do, because I have time to play the game. I may as well learn how to use it properly. Almost there. Easier than walking, huh, bruh? Bam! Look at there. Okay. What do we have? What can't be stored? Well, we'll store what we can. All right. Now, let's go ahead and quick save that with all that science on board. And why don't we review our science at the moment? What do we got on this thing? Review. Can't transmit, so we'll keep that. Got us some goo, surface sample, material study, atmospheric pressure, temperature scan, a lot of good stuff. And then we should have basically the same stuff down here, but maybe a little extra. Mystery goo, EVA report, surface sample. Oh, did I not do an EVA report with the other dude? Oh, I've got two EVA reports because one of them's from the lowlands. That means I can probably take the other Kerbal over and do an EVA report over there. Did you get an EVA report? Okay, I guess I didn't do an EVA report on the other one, so we'll save that. That's better. That's 40 science I almost missed out on. All right, so now what we want to do is cruise over and land up here, right? Just in the summit there. So I got to figure out which direction that is and go there. Go and turn on SAS and just a little bit of punch. Not that way, not that way. There we go. We are pointed in the correct direction. Let's look and see where our current projection is taking us. Not far enough yet. I guess yeah, it's just down the north axis. What do we got? Apoapsis of 728 meters. It's obviously not enough yet, but I just don't want to do too much. Alright, space near Minmus. Why can't I see my flight path here? Maybe my apoapsis is presently inside the mountain. Maybe that's why. Doesn't seem that way. I think I'm feeling okay about fuel. You know, famous last words, right? Okay, good. Now we're talking. Let's angle up just a little bit. Let's increase our angle of attack. That's what we want. Pay attention to where the sun is, directly overhead. So my shadow, there's my shadow. Let's kind of keep it in sight. Point retrograde and be ready to do our landing here. Kind of important that we keep the shadow in sight. Though I really want to see my approach too. I have to kind of choose, don't I, at the moment. Alright, let's try another crew report and see if it says anything about Highlands. It does not. Okay, this ought to do the trick. Bring it a little bit further just to kind of be sure, but I think this will be considered highlands. Let's go ahead and decelerate here. Bring it on in. I'm pointing retrograde, and our pilot is skilled enough to keep it retrograde, so I should not have to manage steering here at all as far as orientation of the craft. All I should have to manage is the throttle, the speed, the velocity. Where'd my shadow go? There it is. Now we're talking. Coming in for a nice, soft 5 meter per second landing. Just ever so gently. Ever so gently and landed. Don't rock, don't roll. Oh no. Oh bad. Let's gain some altitude here. Things went terribly wrong. Those bounces, man, they'll get you. Those bounces will get you. I guess I'm landing on a slope, so we need to bring it down even slower. There we go. Much better. Alright, let's run all of our science. 0 for science. This is still lowlands. Wow, okay. Well, we'll keep. Go ahead and do our EVAs again. Though I think you've already got this. And Danvin, oops, if that was lowlands, then this should already keep, take surface sample, keep, board, yeah, okay. So you already got some of that action. Where the heck are highlands then? Maybe over here? Okay, not this mission then. Let's go ahead and plant a flag here too. EVA. Badoo. Thunk. Plant that flag. All right, hanging in the Minmus lowlands. We aimed high and came up low. Michelle Obama, Kerman. All right, cool. Nice. Let's just go ahead and RCS. Let's get back on board. And let's start thinking about getting back in orbit. Oh no! Grab it! Don't get stuck. Don't get stuck! Come on, dude. Making me look like an amateur. Maybe you're the amateur. Oh, it's those struts that's killing me. Come on. Climb, climb. Yeah, the struts are sort of blocking the helmet a little bit. Man, okay, we're struggling here, so we'll just transfer some crew. Oh, that's the flag. This thing's tipping. I need to do this quickly. Okay, what does this tell us about this particular lander? It tells us that it's not going to be a very good one for Gilly when we end up heading toward Duna. All right, let's think about where our tugboat is. It'll be coming overhead at kind of a high altitude, but it'll be coming overhead. Let's hope we don't tip. I'm going to go into time acceleration. Oh, okay, it's going this way. So what I want to do is try to sync up with it over here somewhere as it's approaching its periapsis. Which means when it gets to apoapsis is about when I will do my launch. Just sort of eyeballing it. All right, which direction do we want to go? We want to go right of the sun. Right? Roughly equatorial, right of the sun. So, where's my sun? So that means we want to go that way. So let's launch up and to the right, which should be, if I'm understanding it correctly, the 180 marker. All right, let's do a quick save. I don't want to try another landing in what I think are the Highlands. I'm just worried that that I will run into a fuel problem. So, okay, 180 is not correct. 270 is correct. There we go. Let's go ahead and get a serious angle of attack here. Wonder if I should have had SAS on when I was landed. Maybe that would have helped with the stability. Okay, not going to run into anything. Looking good. We'll just build a nice low orbit. What's his periapsis? 10,000 meters. So we'll build like an 8,000 meter orbit or so. ought to do the trick. Come on. There you go, baby. RCS off. Okay. Now, I do believe I have an antenna on this. Extend antenna. Very nice. Let's go ahead and extend the other one too, because I believe I have two. Let's review our mission objectives real quickly here. If I could land this whole thing on the moon, it would qualify as my moon base. I'm not going to do that. Talk about top heavy, it would be. Plant a flag on Minmus, done it. Return, all right, transmit or recover science from the surface of Minmus. So let's review our stored science and transmit something that we get 100% for. Review stored data. How does this work? So, all right, this is interesting. I've never gotten to use one of these things before, but I've got a mobile processing lab on here, and if I process, I guess if I'm reading this right, if I take this home, then I get 50 science. If I take it home, hold on. So it takes 62 days. No, it takes 185 days. Wow, I'm really confused by this. Process in the lab 62 data equals 310 science. Time with 62 data, 185 days. So it'll take 185 days to take that 62 data to produce 310 science. Let's just keep that one. All right, this one we're going to transmit to satisfy the mission requirement. Got it. How is that going to create a 940 science? We're going to do that. I'm going to do a little study. I'll be right back. Okay, so it's got 500 science. It does 3.14 science per day. Well, I just don't know enough. So while I'm here, I want to deploy the scanner. Hopefully I can control this thing, by the way. Retract, resource, perform orbital survey. You must be in a stable polar orbit between 25 and 300 kilometers to perform an orbital survey. Okay, we're going to create sooner or later some some little specialized satellites for this. But I like having this thing on this craft. Though I guess it would cost me almost nothing in Delta V to have a version of it as a tiny little satellite that maybe I could attach to the ends here and decouple and orbit around. Probably do that for the next redesign. Okay, let's start thinking about going home. We're gonna F5, just quick save, and let's look for Kerbal. It's over there, and we're going this away, so we want to burn this away. All right, Kerbal apoapsis of 56 million. $49 million. It's just way out there, isn't it? But it's only a 2-second burn, so I'm okay with it. Okay, good news is I can control the craft. I guess it just came down to having to have a pilot on board. Maybe because I don't have a command module? I bet you that's what it is. It's not so much the crew, as that there's no command module. But again, I've got the Probodobodynes, so why in the world would it not allow me to control? Someone in the chat, please tell me why. All right, shut down. Shut down. Oops. Shut down. Shut down. Did I observe? Do I have any science to get from this? Nope. I think I've already done all these experiments. Didn't I have a new experiment though? I feel like I did. Perhaps not. Snot. Thought I had a new experiment on board. Still loving this craft. I mean, that was a weird situation I need to figure out with not being able to control it, but I love this craft. It's great. Why couldn't I control it? Oh well, let's get her home. I don't like that because I want to be able to fly it around while the lander's on the surface doing its thing. I want to be able to fly the flyer around, you know, when I get to the tugboat around when I get to, you know, Duna and stuff. I want to accomplish 2 missions at one time, and so I'd like to leave the Duna lander down there and then head out to Gilly with the tugboat and drop off other landers, right? So I want to combine missions. It's important that I'm able to control that thing independently. So I'm a little flabbergasted as to why I can't. Just getting fast forwarded up to our next node. Six minutes, 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, half a minute. All right, let's get aligned. I guess the only thing we care about at this moment is fuel. And I've got about 1200 oxidizer, 992 liquid. In a minute we'll transfer all of our fuel from the lander to the I guess I can just enable crossfeed, but it's time to push the button. Always fuel with me, man. Okay, it's already pulling fuel from over here. I think I'm gonna run out of gas again. Jesus. How is it that I'm constantly running out of fuel? Why? Okay, right now we have an escape velocity. I think I'm controlling from the wrong point here. Yeah. Cut it down. Reload the quick save. I think I'm controlling from the wrong point. And how about that? Let's try that again there, kids. Check yo orientation. Add maneuver. Accelerate out. Or decelerate out. No. If I fire retrograde here, what does that do? No. Might have been a blessing in disguise. Alright, what are we building here? Alright, we'll do that burn. We're going to point the right direction this time. Shut these down. Close the pod bay doors, Hal. When you've got all these various control points, it's so easy to forget to reorient. And I mean, that's why NASA's got 1,000 checklists, you know. PC load letter. What does that mean? All right. Let's get it down. 15 seconds to go. We'll fine tune our alignment just a tad there. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fire it up. 0.6. That should be pretty perfect. Oh, not quite. All right, let's go ahead and get it out there. I'm tempted to reach escape velocity and then recapture real quickly, actually. Wonder how much it would take. .45 meters per second. Because what I can do is get out there and run all my experiments and bring home a lot of new science that I don't already have. And it'll cost me a total of 80 meters per second delta V. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to quick save before we do the maneuver so that if it goes poorly, we can revert. And let's think about resetting stuff. I I can only store so much in the mobile processing lab. I've got these 4 here. Okay. We'll just run out there and do it because we'll get all this science. And then I can use my scientists to go collect it and bring it back. So I think it's going to be a good idea. I'm mildly worried about fuel, but not terribly. So this will be our first time in solar space. Let's get oriented. It's just basically a prograde. Let's go just get a pointed prograde here. Guess I don't really need the maneuver node. All right. Okay, so we now have escape velocity. We've got, I think, enough fuel. All right, let's just warp to here. Watch our little planetary system. This will be our first little foray into interplanetary space. Completely out of the sphere of gravitational influence from the Kerbal system. Sector 001. Oops. Okay, so that puts us way out there, man. You can still see Kerbal a little bit there, chilling, hanging out, but we are now in orbit of the sun and not in orbit of Kerbal. I am curious. All right, I'm curious real quickly. I want to know whether I have enough delta V at this point to get to Duna. I'm not going to do it, obviously, but I want to see. It would only take another 260. No, okay, sorry. Oh, hang on, I'm going the wrong way. What the heck? What feels wrong here? Alright, this is future. Okay, add maneuver. If I did it from the apoapsis, which would be worst case scenario, right? It would take 1,000 meters per second worth of delta V to get there. That tells me that if it weren't for the trip to Minmus, that this craft is probably about half what it needs to be as far as delta V carrying this payload to get there. Interesting. It feels wrong. It shouldn't take that much to get to Duna. Thousand meters per second to get to that high in orbit. Oh well, okay. We'll think about that later. I'm going to run all my science that I can. High over the sun. Nice. Okay, so all right, and let's go ahead and do EVAs, please. Ooh, we got lots. Man, we can do a ton of EVAs here if we want to and get a lot of science. Where's my doors? Doors are here. Okay. All right, so scientist, you go first. Give me that sweet EVA action. Keep it. Board. Okay, Ehul is next. EVA. Report. Keep it. Board. Gavin needs to move, so Danvin, EVA. EVA report. Keep it. Okay, board, and then Danvin, let's transfer you. Wilgan, give me that sweet EVA action. Keep it. Board. Elul, have I already done you? Danvin's already gone. Alderoy has not. Activate a hatch, so we need to transfer Alderoy. So transfer whoever you are. Hold on, did I do Steven? Yeah, okay. Alderoy still needs to move. Where are you at, Alderoy? Dunler. I don't think Dunler's done his thing yet. EVA report. And I ran all those science experiments, right? Yeah, cool. Okay, now let's, without quick saving, let's think about getting back into our Kerbal orbit. How do I select Kerbal as my target at this point? Control locked. Alright, I think I need to get my pilot back in the landing can. Why oh why? Oh, board. There we go. And who's our pilot? So Dunler, where are you at? Okay, Dunler's in there. Weird things are happening. Oh, hang on. Map. See if control's still locked. Good. Carbon encounter. Periapsis of 294. I'm going to put it at about 500,000. Yeah, I'll put it at 500. 547 works. All right. I guess I can go ahead and fire now. I'm aligned, and that 8 minutes won't make a difference, really. So let's go ahead and... I am cautiously optimistic about the fuel situation. You group are the first Kerbals to have traveled outside of the Kerbin planetary system. How excited are you? Oops. Uh-oh. That happened quickly. All right, hopefully I can go ahead and get braked in. Okay. Warp to here. I don't mind that it's burning a lot of days on the mission. With all the science I have processing, we're about to learn. I'm not sure how to read that thing. I mean, is it saying that it's going to quadruple the value of my science if I do it in the mobile processing lab? I find that incredible, but if that's the case, then that's rather awesome. We have a moon encounter here. Shouldn't affect us though, I don't think. Oh, it actually did. Brought us down to a lower periapsis, but that's not a bad thing. Not a terrible thing. Alright, we'll get pointed retrograde and bring this bad boy in. How fast are we going? Relative velocity, 25. Look at that. We're actually going to make it on fuel, I think. I mean, not with a ton of room to spare, but we did a lot on this mission. All right. Now what we'll do is come out to the apoapsis. We'll separate. So let's get out here and think about it. If I warp here, all right, and then I decelerate to get into an aerobraking position, and then separate, so that way the lander's in an aerobraking position, and then accelerate the tugboat to get back into its elliptical orbit. I think that'll do the trick, because this isn't too eccentric in orbit, 2.7 million. That'll come down with aerobraking, I believe, within 1 or 2 passes. Okay, so we're going to try something we tried before, though. I want to, at my apoapsis, I'm going to add a maneuver that is braking. Oh, went too far. We're going to try this polar situation again. No, it's not going to work. It just takes too much to slow it down that much. $53,000 meters. It's only taking 47 meters per second worth of delta V. Okay, that's what we're going to do. We're going to quick save just like this. And let's get, I'm guessing it's just going to be a straight retrograde burn. Do I have to keep telling it to start research? Ooh, I just updated a bunch of crew. I don't know how that happens. I don't know why that happens, but that happened. Review data. Lots of juicy EVA reports. This should be a really good science mission. I think good enough to give me my nuclear engines so that I can start seriously contemplating going to Duna. Okay, periapsis is currently 62. Give a little stab more. 55, that'll work. Now, what we'll do is detach our lander. So and then we're going to turn this dude prograde. Make sure we're controlling from here. And we're going to swap over to the lander, toggle RCS on, and back away. And move ourselves out of the way. Let's close all our doors. When we get in closer, we will use our action group to retract all our solar panels and stuff. Okay, that looks good. Now we will point prograde and fire up our engines to raise our apoapsis back up to, say, 100,000 or so. So we have a nice, safe, stable, steady orbit. Thank you, lander. Good job. Cruise back over to our lander where we've got a pilot and an engineer. You know what I want to try? I haven't done this. I want to EVA the engineer and repair something. So it's my understanding that engineers are able to repair stuff. And if I'd known that I was going to break stuff on landing, I would have done this. So let's see here. Because these were radiator panels that we broke on EVA. Can they only do it? Okay, well, why don't we try our radio antenna? I don't seem to be able to find a way to repair things. Oh well. Maybe I need to go find a tutorial on YouTube as to how to do that. I did EVA the right guy, right? F and B. B, I say. Down there's a pilot. And Aldroy is an engineer. I feel like Aldroy should have been able to repair those, but maybe I'm not understanding how that works. Okay, let's go ahead and warp here. Be ready to retract. Oh, I did that thing again. I warped too far. Point retrograde, stay retrograde. Control from here. Retract all the panels. Let's look at what's going on with our orbit. Coming down nicely. Aero braking for the win. We may as well go ahead and fire up 2 of our engines and decelerate some. We won't need that fuel for landing, so may as well use it. How have we done on our missions here? Explore Minmus. Return to Kerbal from the surface of Minmus. Dunler was there, so... Okay, we are now out of fuel. 1.2 million versus 53. We'll warp to here. Electric charge 0. Ruh-roh. Didn't think of that. And we're not pointing retrograde. I should have had solar panels out. Let's go ahead and bring them out. Let's charge it up. Good. Cool. I've got all these leveling everything up. I now have more maneuver node possibilities. I guess that's a docking one. Neat. And then these are for maneuvering nodes. I don't have one planned right now, but I'm assuming that if I were to plan a maneuver node, those become available. Or no, that's the maneuver node one. So I don't know what these ones are yet. Target. Yeah, that's pointing at the target. How we doing on electric? Looking good. We'll go ahead and retract the radiators. And we'll retract this solar panel, the really outboard ones, you know. I'm glad I thought of that right then and there. It could have been a fiery sideways aero braking. So it's using a little bit of electric charge right now, as you can see, but not much at all. All right, current periapsis is 53 and going down slightly, coming up on 1 million, going down quickly. Got quite a bit of RCS fuel on here. I guess I could go ahead and bring it down even more. It keeps coming down at that rate. I might be able to actually force a landing this time around. All right, I am curious when I land. I'm gonna, if it's assuming it's on land, I'm gonna do an EVA to see about fixing that antenna, but on the ground. Maybe that's the thing, is it needs to happen on the ground. Starting to see some diminishing returns here. Let's do it again. How's my solar panel situation? We'll extend them. RCS off. Keeping it pointed retrograde. And let's accelerate around again. This lander, while it has endured a couple of design flaws and had a couple mishaps, is pretty successful. It's a little top heavy on really low gravity environments, so it is not the one that I'll be landing on super small moons like Gilly, but I think it'll be great on Duna or Eve, but obviously it won't be able to take off from Eve. It's nowhere near enough power. I have no idea if I'll be able to create an ascent stage for Eve. Doesn't mean I'm not going to try. Almost down. And recover. Cool. Successful mission to Minmus, where we landed. Got to gather science data from a couple of different biomes and brought back a bunch, and I think we're starting to learn how to use the mobile processing lab and all that stuff. So let's see, we brought home 998 science, almost 1,000 science. That is awesome. That is probably not enough to finish the tech tree, but holy crap, that is a lot of science. Also, we're at about 3 million, so we've definitely got over our financial crunch. Yeah, buddy. All right, so let's think about our next missions. Right now, the outpost on the moon is the next thing, and so that means I think the next thing we're actually going to do is a rover. Let me see if there are any rover related missions. All right, position a satellite. Antenna can generate power, designated orbit. Okay, so we're going to do one of our relay satellites with that. Around the moon. Rescue somebody from the surface of the moon. Build a new surface outpost on Ike. It's already talking about me going to Duna next. That's the next logical step. Rescuing people, ferrying, explore Duna. Space around Kerbal. Really? Kind of done that, you know? I don't want to do asteroids yet. Okay, next thing we're going to do. Let's take a step back in time and remember poor Bob, who's been eating nothing but Rice Krispie treats out here on the moon's surface. So, a few missions back, we landed a lander, and Bob here is standing alone in the dark next to a flag. Like he got bored and he's looking straight at the flag, but he still looks chipper and happy. So Bob is on the surface of our moon here, and he's really close to where I believe the Armstrong crater is. He's within driving distance. And so the next thing we're going to do is drop off a rover. And then that rover is going to be the first part of our moon base. And we're going to drive him over to the moon base, or to the Armstrong Memorial, and then we're going to deliver some crew there for our moon base. I said the word moon base 9 times. But anyway, our next mission is to semi-rescue Bob, and that he's going to remain, at least for a while, a permanent resident of this moon. But we want to give him a nice place to be, because right now he's just sort of hanging out in his suit with nothing but a flag to look at. He needs some friends and something to do. Poor Bob, one of the OGs. So that will be the topic of our next Kerbal adventure. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you had fun. I always do. Fishhooks out.